As it turns out, celebrity couples are well connected in Hollywood. Maybe a little bit too much, seeing as how there are quite a few celebs who have dated other celebrities' exes.
Oh my gosh, I totally love him.
And I'm crazy about her.
Kim Kardashian, Pete Davidson, and Ariana Grande. A lot of Ariana's fans were ecstatic when they saw that she and Pete were an item back in 2018. And when news broke that the two were engaged in June of that same year, we couldn't hold back our excitement. But the two called off their engagement just a few months later in October and left a lot of fans confused.
Pete Davidson, thanks for existing. Love you.
Fast forward to November of 2021, when Pete and Kim Kardashian confirmed the dating rumors that had been circulating since their SNL performance.
Are you gonna kiss me or not?
I sure am, Jasmine.
Some fans believed that Kim was being shady when she later gave away makeup products from Ariana's beauty line, REM Beauty, to her daughter North to play with instead of using the products herself. But seeing as how North is a huge Ari fan and Ariana is happily married to real estate agent Dalton Gomez, she couldn't be less unbothered by Pete's new romance. Shawn Mendes, Hailey Baldwin, and Justin Bieber. It's safe to say that Shawn Mendes is a big fan of Justin Bieber. He's even mentioned that Justin was one of his inspirations when he started his singing career. But the two have more in common than just their love of music. Justin and Hailey actually started dating back in 2015 before ending things after a few months. But in 2017, she became linked with Shawn when she accompanied him to that year's Met Gala. Plot twist! In 2018, Justin and Hailey rekindled their romantic relationship and were even married later that year. But seeing as how Shawn and Justin later collaborated on the song Monster together, we'd say they probably don't have any ill feelings towards each other. Kylie Jenner, Gigi Hadid, and Cody Simpson. Once upon a time, long before he and Miley Cyrus were together, Cody had eyes for a few other famous celebrity women in Hollywood, one of which was Kylie Jenner herself. The two were rumored to be dating back in 2011, well before she became the internationally known reality TV star and beauty mogul that she is today. But a few years later in 2013, Cody found himself falling for another beauty icon, Gigi Hadid. The two were in an on-again, off-again relationship until things ended amicably in 2015. While it may not have worked out, Gigi, Kylie, and Cody have all clearly moved on with their respective lives and careers. Taylor Swift, Kendall Jenner, and Harry Styles. Though his relationships with both of these celebs were short-lived, Harry definitely proved himself to be quite the ladies' man a few years ago. He was linked to Taylor back in late 2012, but the two only dated for a few short weeks. And this is Taylor Swift we're talking about, so a few weeks was all she needed to have enough inspiration to write a variety of songs for her 1989 album. In November of 2013, he was also linked with one Kendall Jenner.
But what exactly is happening in this photograph? What's happening in this photograph?
Though their relationship, like most of Kendall's relationships, was pretty private. Bella Hadid, Selena Gomez, and The Weeknd. It's no surprise that The Weeknd has been known to make great music with compelling lyrics. Lyrics that may have been inspired by two relatively publicized relationships, starting with Bella Hadid. The dating rumors started in 2015 when they were spotted together at Coachella. But due to their busy schedules that rarely allowed them to see each other, they went their separate ways in late 2016. But by January 2017, he'd moved on to Selena Gomez. The two musicians even moved in together for a short while, only to break up just a few months later in October of that year. Fast forward to May of 2018, when he tried his luck again with Bella. Things seemed to be going great, but eventually, their second attempt at a relationship came to an end in August of 2019. While breakups can be devastating, we'll assume he decided to save his tears for another day. Selena Gomez, Taylor Swift, and Taylor Lautner. The Twilight Saga seemed to take over the world, as well as the hearts of most teenage girls back then. But Taylor also drew the attention of two huge voices in music. He and Selena met in 2009 and went on a few dates, but it only ended in disappointment for Selena when he ghosted her after it was reported that his father thought it'd be better for his career if he stayed single. But then he and T Swift dated only a few months after being with Selena. So maybe his dad changed his mind? Either way, that relationship didn't last very long either, as the two split after a few short months.
Stand aside, honey. I'll handle this.
But seeing as how Selena and Taylor are still friends to this day, Lautner clearly didn't get between them. Gwyneth Paltrow, Jennifer Aniston, and Brad Pitt. Most of us are already aware of Brad and Angelina Jolie's infamous relationship and the tumultuous uphill battle that is their pending divorce. But Angelina wasn't the first of Brad's love interests to prove that all good things must come to an end. He and Gwyneth dated for a few years from 1994 to 1997 and were even engaged at one point.
I take the institution of marriage extremely seriously. There are no divorces in my family.
But it would only be 1 year later when he was set up on a blind date with Jennifer, who he would later marry in 2000. But that all ended when they announced their separation in 2005. One Mr. and Mrs. Smith film later, and, well, we know how the rest of that story goes. Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, and John Mayer. Yes, as you could probably assume from the title of this video, Taylor Swift is a name that is bound to get mentioned more than a couple times in this context. We're not here to judge, and she's not the only one, but we'd be lying if we said she didn't share exes with quite a few other celebs, one of them being Katy Perry. Taylor dated John for a few months between 2009 and 2010, but when he and Katy got together in 2012, their friendship got a little rocky. Eventually, Katy and John ended their on-again, off-again relationship in 2015, and she and Taylor have since let the past live in the past. Taylor Swift, Gigi Hadid, and Joe Jonas. It may be true that Joe found the true love of his life with Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner, but that doesn't mean there weren't a few other celebs who attempted to claim that title. And first up was Taylor Swift. The two dated briefly back in 2008 before Joe infamously ended things in a 27-second phone call. In 2015, Gigi Hadid had her chance with Joe. They dated for a few months, but it just wasn't meant to be. When Taylor later dropped her folklore album in 2020, her song Invisible String caught the attention of her fans as they were able to see that the song was about her relationship with Joe. Seeing as how Gigi loved the song, we can guess their friendship takes precedence over their shared ex. Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, and Nick Jonas. Apparently, Joe isn't the only Jonas with a knack for pulling at the heartstrings of big names in Hollywood. Miley and Nick first started dating in 2006 when they were both still young Disney Channel stars, but ended things 2 years later in 2008. But then came Selena, who dated Nick later that same year. The two dated for a few months, then ended things in 2009, only to rekindle their relationship in 2010, before breaking up again. Miley and Selena, well, mostly Miley, had clear beef with each other, but have since left the petty bantering back in the mid-2000s where it belongs. Nikki Reed, Kristen Stewart, and Rob Pattinson. While some celebs would have loved to be with Pattinson, others were quick to shut down rumors that the two ever dated. And that can be said for Nikki Reed. Fans may have shipped the two, but in 2009, Nikki addressed 17 and spoke candidly about how the two were never actually together. Meanwhile, in 2009, Rob did start dating Twilight co-star Kristen Stewart. The two were together for nearly 4 years. That is, until rumors surfaced of Kristen being linked to Rupert Sanders. But as they say, time heals all wounds, and they've all moved on to better things. Nikki Reed, Nina Dobrev, and Ian Somerhalder. When the Vampire Diaries first aired, many fans, myself included, wanted nothing more than for Ian and Nina's characters to finally be together. Spoiler alert, they did at a point. The two even dated for about 4 years off-screen, and we were ecstatic. But then they broke up when Ian started dating and later married Nina's friend and Twilight vampire, Nikki Reed. Many believe this to be the reason Nina decided to leave the Vampire Diaries. While we're sure the whole ordeal was awkward for all of them, there doesn't seem to be any bad blood between them. Kate Hudson, Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Lopez, and Alex Rodriguez. You may or may not know, but back in 2010, Kate and Cameron had quite the feud over Alex. He and Kate dated for a few months in 2009 and then started dating Cameron from 2010 to 2011, and Kate was all but pleased about this. Eventually, neither of them could be too upset with each other, seeing as how Alex was no longer with either of them and later dated J.Lo in 2017. The two were engaged in 2019, but ultimately decided to end their romantic relationship in April of 2021. It seems that J.Lo has moved on, and we can only assume Kate and Cameron have done the same since their feud was an entire decade ago. Lindsay Lohan, Hilary Duff, and Aaron Carter.
And I don't know if dating at 13 years old is a thing.
Buckle in for this one, because the drama and pettiness associated with these stars when they were young is almost laughable. Hilary and Aaron started dating in 2000 after he guest starred on her show, Lizzie McGuire. After over a year, while he was still with Hilary, he started a relationship with Lindsay Lohan. Aaron then got back with Hilary, only to cheat on her again.
I started dating Hilary on my 13th birthday. She came to my
What does
13th.
that mean, you're dating Hilary on your
Meaning
13th?
like, no, we kiss and we hug, we hold hands, we go to the movies, you know.
Typical thing.
But the feud between Hilary and Lindsay got hilariously petty, with the two showing up at each other's movie premieres and poking fun at each other during live performances and interviews. They officially put their childish feud to rest in 2007, and we think they're better for it. Taylor Swift, Ellie Goulding, and Calvin Harris. Of course, we've got to throw T-Swift in there one last time. But unlike Hilary and Lindsay, there's no feud here. Ellie was rumored to be dating Calvin after sparks seemed to fly during the I Need Your Love music video in 2013. But a couple of months later, he started dating someone else. Fast forward to 2015 when Calvin started dating Ellie's friend, Taylor. As it turns out, Ellie was the one who played matchmaker for their relationship. The two eventually split in 2016, but we can safely say that Ellie, Taylor, and Calvin have all moved on since then. Kudos to you for making it to this point in the video, because that was definitely a whirlwind for both of us. But what celebrity coupling did you find most surprising? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to The Thing Celebrity for more videos just like this one.